I remember I told everybody when I first became supervisor here that the previous administration and some of them sitting in the crowd was stealing. Did they want to write that story? No, they did not. Because right is right. Y'all wanted to keep that on hush, but nobody would say nothing. But I did. But nobody in the media would say anything. And I hope you're recording this, Lance and John, and put it in your paper. Because I'm still telling that story. So now that I created a Tiffany on the Move podcast to tell my story, since don't nobody want to pick it up, and I'm being attacked by the media left or right, I am telling y'all my story. And truth will be heard on the podcast because no one wants the truth to come out of what they did before me. But while I took office, when I took office, we done a great job. We have got allocated over $15 million, but nobody wrote about that, right? Nobody else went and got that more money than me in the board here. We got $1 million to help the at-risk youth. We put them all back to work. We also gave out 80 scholarships up to $2,500. People have graduated and got jobs and will be working here at the township when they get out of school. But no one's telling you all the good things we do. Everybody want to make it like we're bad when they were bad. They were the one that had it before me and did nothing with it. Why was the number so low? Why wasn't they feeding people in the food pantry, but they were spending the money out of the food pantry, but wasn't feeding the people, right? But these all the facts and things that I'm gonna put out there just to lay the groundwork so people can know what to look for. Do not follow people because they so negative, because misery need company. That's what they need. So don't hang with people that ain't actually growing the community. Go talk to people that want to uplift the black and brown communities, the ones that's neglected.
So everybody's talking about the Tiffany Henyard situation. She's back in the news again. We know that she got blew out by a landslide in her bid to be reelected as the mayor of Dalton and also the supervisor of Thornton Township. We know that it didn't work out in her favor, right? Now, we reported on her for about 2 years, talking about all the egregious acts that was going on during her tenure as the mayor of Dalton. And the supervisor, where she was of Thornton, where she was calling herself the super mayor. We know that she put pictures of her all over the place. She had calendars of herself. There was funds not being reported. She was sued by the news publications. There was everything going on, right? But y'all see in the beginning of my video where in the Thornton Township meeting, she was calling out Frank Zuccarelli. And she was talking about how the administration was already stealing money prior to her coming there, right? She was blowing the whistle on a lot of things. She was saying, basically saying, y'all put me in a position where y'all can control me, but y'all can't. That's right. So she was doing court yesterday where she went on a stand and she pled the fifth. But before we get to that part, let's look into some of the allegations that was put on Tiffany Henyard. Check this out.
I love y'all. And nothing you can do about it.
The curtain will soon close on the Tiffany Henyard show, but not before one last dance.
Supervisor,
Oh, stop it, man.
Come on now.
Come on, go on, be with
people want to know what's next for you.
know what's next. Why you out here? Why are you out here?
We were there for Henyard's final food giveaway and a new tally of what she's cost taxpayers. On Easter weekend, cars lined up for blocks, tens of thousands of tax dollars spent for another one of Henyard's famous food giveaways.
Our last hurrah, and I did not vote for that woman, and I never didn't vote for her before, but I'm gonna give me something to eat today.
I like the giveaways, but I don't like her. She's nasty.
She's giving us back what we already gave, but ain't nobody else doing that either.
Tiffany Henyard does spend a lot of money, some of it on worthwhile programs, but she's also benefited handsomely and questionably. Newly obtained records show last year Henyard was paid more than $347,000 from Dalton and Thornton Township, the two governments she runs. That's more than Chicago's mayor makes. Henyard's comp includes $282,000 from the township, which also gave her a $4,900 per month expense allowance and an $1,100 monthly vehicle allowance. That's despite the fact Dalton taxpayers spent six figures on two SUVs police used to chauffeur Henyard.
Trustee Gray Everett, Supervisor Henyard.
And did we mention Henyard hasn't attended a single meeting since she lost re-election?
Why haven't you been to board meetings since your defeat?
And work.
You don't want to answer? You're still getting paid. Why not go to the meetings?
It just proves that what she was doing was very selfish. It wasn't about the people.
Stephanie Wiedemann worked for the township for 20 years and blew the whistle on many of Henyard's antics.
If she would have just said, oh, I made a mistake, everybody would have moved on. We pointed out the mistakes and she put on the show. You know, everybody paid attention because every 2 weeks it was like a sitcom.
Y'all are black, and y'all sitting up here beating and attacking on a black woman that's in power. Y'all should be ashamed of yourselves.
You the ones that's costing the village money.
Okay.
Don't have that call.
All right.
Okay.
What was she supposed to do? You wanted her to expound? Don't drag out the meeting.
I made a motion.
WGN Investigates has documented first-class trips for Henyard and her entourage that cost taxpayers well over $100,000. There was a stay at a Four Seasons and steak dinners. In late 2023, this was how she explained it.
I do not handle anything as relates to with credit cards. As you heard me speak today in my board meeting about, I do not handle that.
Some of those charges are for you, though.
No, sir.
You didn't go to Las Vegas? What is that?
No comment.
You don't know if you were in Las Vegas?
Of course I do.
Were you?
It's not paid by them.
So she was taking lavish trips. You know, she was questioned about credit card spending. Again, she had a well-known trustee out of Chicago that was a trustee in Dalton that was accused of essay assault. She was locking, she was locking political figures of the city out of the Dalton Township building. She was doing everything. Anybody that wasn't a part of her or wasn't down with what she was doing, man, you was ostracized. You was getting up out of there. That's how she was rolling. That was her regime. But I always ask this same question. Why was she there in the first place if she wasn't qualified? Who put her there? We know that Dalton has a history of corruption because they didn't like Rogers when he was there. Was it Riley Rogers, the former mayor? They didn't like him. It was a reason why she was elected. Who thought that they could control her when she got there, right? But she was due in court, right? And the news was reporting this.
Former Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard is expected in court today for failing to produce records in a lawsuit against her in the village. It is over documents she has not handed over as part of a Freedom of Information Act request. A judge previously said Henyard could be fined $1,000 a day if she doesn't give the documents to the plaintiff's lawyer. If Henyard doesn't show up to court today, she could be thrown in jail.
So the first time that she was supposed to appear in court, she didn't appear. She appeared virtual. And she was basically saying that she had no idea or recollection of the records. And the judge said no. The judge slammed that. He said, we're not going for that. You have to have your butt in court by Friday, and you have to have paperwork showing what happened with these funds, these misappropriated funds. We need to see where the money went. Well, she showed up to court and showed out. Because when she showed up, it was very brief. And she pled the fifth. She said, man, I don't know what y'all talking about, man. Listen, basically, I have no comment. I have no comment. Right? Y'all don't believe me? Check it out.
Tiffany Henyard, former Dalton mayor and Thornton Township supervisor, takes the fifth rather than testify in court today.
Yeah, she'd been ordered to appear. WGN's Jewel Hillary is live at the Daily Center with details on her hearing. Jewel.
Hi, good evening, you all. Unlike former board and supervisor meetings today, Tiffany Henyard's appearance in court was pretty quick and easy. She was ordered to come to court, I should say, in person after being found in contempt for not following state transparency laws and submitting records during her time in office. Now, as you mentioned, instead of testifying today, her attorney pled the fifth on the former mayor's behalf. Just after 2 p.m. Friday, Tiffany Henyard, the former Dalton mayor and Thornton Township supervisor, walked into circuit court. Tiffany, do you have any thoughts about being in court today, being ordered to come to court?
We don't have any comment right now.
Friday's hearing focused on a lawsuit filed by the public interest group Edgar County Watchdogs. The organization sued the village of Dalton after Henyard's administration ignored Freedom of Information Act requests last January, seeking spending and other records. Her attorney, Bo Brinley, says Henyard doesn't have them.
She has no idea what that document was. She's going back to some board meeting where they say she held up a single piece of paper. I don't know how and could expect her to remember what that was, given how many meetings there have been and how much chaos there was in Dalton.
During court, Henyard was asked to testify, but with an ongoing FBI investigation looking into questionable spending and claims that she used her government power to retaliate against people she perceived as opponents during her time as Dalton mayor and Thornton Township supervisor, Brindley advised her to plead the Fifth.
I think that's what anybody that's smart and reasonable and has a lawyer is going to do under these circumstances. She's not a public figure anymore. She's not in office, and she has every right to exercise her rights under the Constitution to protect herself.
Court documents say Henyard refused to respond to emails from last fall from Dalton Council requesting records in response to the FOIA request.
The watchdogs were looking for something pretty simple, which were some credit card bills. All my clients wanted, all the public deserved, was to be able to look at what she was waving around that said that that was canceled.
With no documents in hand, Henyard's counsel was permitted by the judge to file an affidavit.
She doesn't have it. All we have to do is advise them with an affidavit. The judge has agreed that that's fine, and we'll do it immediately.
Eventually, I think the people of Dalton asked the mayor to stop when they elected someone else, which was her real defense today, which is that she got out of this by losing an election.
A follow-up hearing is scheduled for June 11th online. Also, during today's proceedings, the judge also brought up another complaint where Tiffany Henyard, the village of Dalton, and a couple of Dalton fire and police commissioners are named as defendants. Henyard's attorney says she had no idea about this complaint and has been given time to seek counsel. Reporting live in the Loop from the Daily Center, I'm Jewel Hillary, WGN News.
Now, I will say that was a smart move on her behalf. You know, to plead the Fifth, I don't know. And she probably figured I can get out of this by not staying in office, by losing this election. I can go on with my life, right? I can get up out of this situation. Now, I don't know if she's going to continue to live in Dalton. I was hearing that she was looking for a house in California. I'm sure that she done got to put some money to the side. Her boyfriend, remember, she was doing a lot of unethical things, right? While she was sitting in office holding a chair, she was dating a guy that was married to a woman that was in the city that she was the mayor of. Like, this whole thing was super ratchet, right? And listen, man, I keep saying, why was she there in the first place? She shouldn't have been there, but she was there nonetheless, right? And I don't like none of them. We seen the knockdown, drag out arguments that they was having in those meetings that they would have, those Dalton meetings. We seen them. I don't trust nobody. I don't trust the people because remember, when she got elected for Thornton, she was never elected. They put her there by votes, by the people on the board. She wasn't elected by the people of that township. She wasn't their selection. They put her there. So, and I wonder why. And it backfired on her. When she got there, she fired Stephanie Weiderman. And that W woman, Stephanie Weiderman, she vowed to get revenge. And they made it hard for Tiffany every step of the way, man. Honestly, when it's all said and done now, because she's not in handcuffs, she's not in the bracelets. To me, what I'm starting to see is it was business as usual. But once they got her there, she wasn't playing ball the way that they wanted her to, so she became public enemy number one. But other than that, to me, they always stealing money. They always doing corrupt stuff, to me. Because if they wasn't, she wouldn't have been there in the first place. But once she didn't want to play ball to the man in which they want her to play ball to, they came after her. That's just the way I see it. Let me know what y'all think, man. Hit that like button, subscribe to Street Media TV. Leave your comments in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think, man. And remember, I love y'all. Till the next time, peace.